everybody. This is Delicious and Nutritious. We're broadcasting live from PAC TV. Also, we have a live hookup over at the Plymouth Center for Active Living. And we also want to thank Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital for providing some of the funding for our program. Marcia Richards is over at the Center for Active Living, and I'm getting ready to make meatballs and sauce with orchetta. How many people know what orchetta is? I'm going to explain it. Anyway, first thing we're going to do is we are going to make the red sauce. This is a simple red sauce. It only takes about an hour cooking on the stove. There's nothing complex about this. And it's very much like a simple sauce that would be prepared in Italy. And that's what we're trying to do here. So we start off with diced or minced tomatoes. And notice no label because we're not advertising a sponsor. We have in this diced onions, olive oil, kosher salt, and black pepper, and of course, garlic cloves. So we take all of these things. You'll notice that the onions are a 1/4 inch dice, and look at the color on this olive oil. It's beautiful. The aroma is lovely. Anyway, so we put all of these things together. We are going to saute the onions, then until they are just soft, not brown, certainly not black, and then we're going to add some minced garlic to that for 1 to 2 minutes because we don't want the garlic to turn black. It'll turn black very quickly. So we put that all together, and then we add our diced tomatoes, and we bring it to a boil, and we bring it down to a simmer, and we let it simmer uncovered for 1 hour. So why do we do it uncovered? Because it allows it to concentrate, the water comes off, it intensifies the flavors. Excellent. So next thing, we're going to make the meatballs. And the meatballs are also a relatively simple process. It's a little bit time consuming, but we're using minced diced onions again, olive oil, garlic cloves. Notice the similarity between the recipes. Unseasoned breadcrumbs, which we have right here. These are not the Italian seasoned breadcrumb, just a plain breadcrumb, but it's delicious. Parmesan Reggiano cheese, and I'm going to give a quick demo on shredding. This is after it's shredded. This is before it's shredded. This is a nice little shredder that I happen to like to use. So you essentially just shred it like this, and that's how that works. So we'll put that back there, and we have large eggs, 3 of them in this case. Flat leaf parsley. Notice the flat leaf parsley, and I have diced the flat leaf parsley. I like flat leaf because I think it has much more flavor than the curly parsley. And we have also, our recipe calls for a little bit of orange zest. Orange zest, we take a vegetable scraper and we scrape it down. That gives us a nice strip like that. And then we mix and mince the strip so we get these little tiny pieces, and then they distribute nicely throughout the mix. We also have a 80% hamburger, and we're going to gently put this whole thing together. We're going to basically do the same thing we do with the onions and the garlic. We're going to cook the onions until they're slightly soft, and then the garlic goes into that. And then we're going to place them in a large bowl and allow them to cool because we don't want them warm when we start doing our mix. So into another bowl, we're going to put our breadcrumbs, our eggs, our Parmesan cheese, our parsley, the oregano, a little bit of oregano in there, salt and pepper, and we're going to stir gently and nice and uniform. One thing I should have said, we're going to scramble the eggs first before we add them in. So they're going to get scrambled. And then after we have that done, we're going to mix in the onion mixture, and that onion mixture is going to be mixed in with the hamburger, and it's critical that you don't overmix this. You want it nice and uniform, and this is nice and uniform. You can see there's a little parsley over here. Here's a piece of zest, some onions, a little garlic, and then the hamburger. But notice the uniformity, and that's critical, because and don't squeeze it hard, because if you squeeze it hard, it will compact, and you'll have, instead of a meatball, you're going to have a rock, and that's not exactly what you want. So now the next thing that we need to do is we need to take a little bit of vegetable spray, and we take our rimmed cookie sheet, and we're going to spray this, and I'm going to show you how to make a meatball. But before I do that, I'm going to, because I really believe in sanitation, and I wash my hands all the time, I'm going to wear gloves, and I'm going to show you how to make a really nice round meatball. And you do this a couple of times, and you're going to say, wow, that's easy. So let me get this thing on here. Now, working with this mix right here, we want to wet our hands. So now we take, and we're going to make a meatball that is roughly going to be the size of about 1.5 inches. It will expand as it cooks. Notice the rolling of my hands, nice and gently. I'm not forcing it together, because as I said, we want these things to be moist inside. So we're going to make a few of these. And look at how easy this is. It amazes me how simple it is. And don't worry about that the sides are, maybe one is a little bit larger, and because there's always somebody that wants a big meatball. There's always somebody that wants only a little tiny meatball. So we would finish doing all of this. The next thing is that we're going to put our sheet pan into the oven, and that is going to, in a preheated 425 degrees oven, and that's going to be in there for 10 minutes. But because our time is somewhat limited, I want to show you, we're going to just simply say that this has been in there for 10 minutes, and what we're going to do now is we're going to bring them out, put this here on the table, and we're going to gently roll it over. Now you can gently roll it like this, or you can gently roll it with a tong. I happen to like the tong method. But anyway, this is going to go back in there for 5 more minutes. So what are we doing here? We're cooking the meatball, and you notice that there's not a lot of fat on this sheet, so we're trying to eliminate it and have this as healthy as possible. Now, 5 more minutes, and we get a nice little crust on the bottom as well as on the top, and we're ready to put it into the sauce that we've already been cooking for an hour. So now it goes into the sauce, and we're going to let it finish cooking in there for approximately 25 minutes. Now, when I mean cooking, I mean simmering. And we don't want to overcook it, and we want it, when we're mixing things like this, we want to be gentle, very gentle. Okay, so now we have made the meatball, we made the sauce. We are now doing the cooking the meatballs in the sauce for 25 minutes. I'm just going to stick this over here for a moment so it's out of the way. And we're going to talk for just a moment or two. And then we're going to switch over to Marcia, our nutritionist, and she's going to tell us all kinds of wonderful things about this recipe. So where we are right now is we're cooking for 25 minutes. And the only other thing that we have not done is while during that 25-minute period, we're boiling some water, and we're going to make orchetta. Orchetta is a piece of pasta, and you notice it's got a little cup in the side, one side, and it's got ridges over here. I like this because the sauce really sticks to this. So it just stays on it. But do you need to use orchetta? No, you can use tubes, you can use elbows, you can use whatever you want. You want to use spaghetti or thin spaghetti, or bucatini or whatever you want to use, that's perfect. So we are now at finishing. We're going to drain off the orchetta after we've cooked it. The orchetta, how do we know how long it takes for orchetta to cook? On the front of the box, it tells you all of this. So don't worry about that. And now I would like to go over to Marcia.
Excellent. We're over here getting ready to sample your delicious sauce and meatballs. So, one of the things I wanted to comment on the recipe
Marcia, I cannot
is
hear you.
all right. I don't know what to say. All
I
right.
hear
I'll
you
just keep
now.
on talking. Okay. Excellent. I tipped the microphone.
Oh, okay.
So, the sauce recipe is a great source of vitamin C. And vitamin C is one of those nutrients that's really good for our immune system. And we're filming this on December 20th, 2019. So it is a common time for the common cold or the flu. So, Jerry, my stump the chef question really isn't about food, but it's
Okay.
about health. So,
Yes.
can you tell us the single most important thing that people can do to reduce their chances of getting the common cold?
Actually, I can. And it's one of my favorite things to do, which is washing my hands. And
Excellent. Very good.
it is correct. And you can wash your hands with soap. The key really is to wash your hands for 20 or 30 seconds and then rinse it in warm water. It doesn't have to be hot enough to burn you. That's not what's happening here. It's a very good idea. There are hand washing solutions that are primarily made with alcohol, and they work fine. I personally think that the soap, as well as the mechanical scraping of the hands while you're washing them, is very highly effective. Take it away, Marcia.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. And another way to make sure that you're doing that 20 to 30 seconds is to sing happy birthday while you're washing your hands. And I've also heard that's a good thing to do when you're brushing your teeth too. So I wanted to comment on a few other things when it comes to germ control. So in addition to washing hands, there's other things that we can do. And my audience over here at the center, they all have a few questions in front of them. So I'm going to put them in the hot seat for a second.
I have a
So
question for you also. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask my table one, where do you typically put your purse or pocketbook, or if you have a computer bag, when you come in the house? Perfect. Hang it on the side of a chair is the perfect answer. Good, good. Sometimes we just inadvertently put things on a counter or a tabletop where we might be doing food preparation or eating. So a lot of germs can get picked up during the day. We put it on the floor of the car. We might put it on the floor at a restaurant, a bus, or a train, and bring some germs home with you. My table two, I ask you, how long do you wash your hands? Oh, all right. You're being honest. So, can we challenge you to do it for 30 seconds? Excellent. How about you, Joan? 20 to 30. Excellent. So, sing happy birthday or some other song if you want to. I guess it doesn't have to be happy birthday. It could be our favorite Bohemian Rhapsody if necessary. All right. In table three, I have where do you put your hat or gloves? Perfect. So again, hat or gloves could pick up germs during the day. If we put them on the table or the counter where food is being prepared, that could be a problem. In my final table, I have when do you wash your hands? When do you wash your So I'm going to put my back to you for a minute. Sorry. Before and after. Perfect. Everything. Yep. Excellent. Excellent. Definitely. Yep.
Marcia, can you repeat her answer?
Yeah. So the answer was definitely before and after cooking food, before and after work, um, after using the bathroom. And Marilyn was just talking about when she's working with poultry. Yeah. And even making sure the area around your sink and counters are. A few other things that I want to throw out are things like um, if you have a pet cat or a pet bird or a pet dog, if you pat them or play with them, or if they've been licking your hands, that kind of thing. So 'tis the season for lots of happiness and celebration, but it's also the season for getting sick. So I wanted to highlight a few of those non-food things in a sense, and to highlight tomato sauce, Jerry. The tomato sauce recipe contains about 20% the vitamin C that adults need per day. Vitamin C is one of those nutrients that helps our immune system better at helping us exposure to germs, bacteria, and other things that might. The meatballs are a good source of iron and zinc, B12, protein, all great for so many aspects of from our immune system to oxygen delivery to our brain and even cell replication. So it's an awesome recipe. It is delicious. It's also nutritious. It is relatively low in sodium. Two meatballs will give you about 400 milligrams of sodium, which is within American Heart Association guidelines for entree. So I have for you, Jerry, if I
Okay,
may.
Marcia, I have a question for you.
Okay.
All right. Uh, Now that we're talking about sanitation and hand washing, uh, actually, it's a two-part question. What do you think about the issue of undercooking animal protein, and also during the holidays, making sure things that should be refrigerated are refrigerated, and other things that should be warm are continue to be kept warm?
It's definitely both. The answer to both is it's very important to prevent food poisoning. And we tend to focus on those things that you mentioned in the summertime.
Mhm.
People are more concerned if food is out or if it's warmer. But if um, food is out and temperatures can drop below 140 if it's a hot food, or below 40 degrees if it's a cold food, that is an environment that bacteria can grow and we could get sick. So try to get food covered up and into the fridge as soon as possible. I try to do it within a half an hour. I think we can go longer, but I try to get my foods off the table and into the fridge within a half an hour or so. And I think I'm being extraordinarily conservative too. And as far as reheating, we want to make sure that we reheat any foods up to 165 degrees and for leftovers. And you can correct me on those temps.
Uh, the temps are really relegated due to the type of foods.
Okay.
Some things, uh, such as such as poultry, which contains salmonella, is an issue. There are some things that have E. coli as you are aware of.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that you follow what the U.S. Department of Agriculture is saying. And eating raw hamburger is or rare hamburger is not a good idea, primarily
No.
because why can you eat a piece of steak and have it a little bit red in the inside and not have a problem there? Because on if there are bacteria, it'll be on the outside of the steak. You take that piece of steak and you grind it up. So now you take the outside, you put it in the inside, and you mix the whole thing up together. And now you have something that you need to have an internal temperature that is adequately going to destroy
Kill
the
things,
bacteria.
yeah.
So, Marcia, if you're ready, I'm ready to plate the dish.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I like that. Okay, we are heating right here. Now, remember, I said I want to be gentle with the meatballs, so I'm going to gently stir the meatballs and sauce. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of our prepared orchetta.
It looks beautiful.
It is beautiful too. It's a piece of art. Okay, now we're going to scoop the meatball and look at those nice chunky tomatoes. And we're going to make this a triple meatball because we got hungry people today.
It's the trifecta.
Yes. Okay, and we'll just do a little sauce. Look at the steam coming off there. This is a thing of beauty.
It is gorgeous. So Jerry, if a person wanted to half this recipe, I think this recipe makes about 40 meatballs, maybe.
It makes approximately 40 meatballs.
40. So
depending upon size.
So it could be halved easily or freeze the extra meatballs.
Well, here's what I really like to do, is that meatballs and sauce freeze extremely well. And if you want, you can separate out the meatballs and put them in a Ziploc bag, lay them out nice and flat, and then you can also take the sauce, put it in another Ziploc bag, and get the air out of it, lay it nice and flat. So now, when it comes time to make pizza, and you want to have pizza with meatballs on it, you pull out a few meatballs and you microwave them a little bit, and you cut them up, and you got meatballs. You want a little sauce for your pizza? Then you can take some of the red sauce, and these things will microwave very nicely. The nice thing about them is they freeze amazingly well. And if you don't use all the meatballs in your Ziploc bag, stick it back in the freezer, and it'll be fine for the next time.
Excellent.
Okay.
So I'm going to see if anybody in our group has any questions.
Okay.
Okay, Marissa, I'm sorry, has a question. Yes, oracreate. You say it better than me. Or orchetta. It's not cavatelli, but you could use that. It's little round belly buttons. I always call them belly buttons. Kind of like tortellini, but in them. Yeah, we always called them belly buttons. Yeah.
Ask my wife how to spell it.
Hold on. So Marilyn has a question. Oh, why did you add orange zest?
I added orange zest because the lemon, lime, oranges, they do something called brightness. They add a bright flavor to it, and that's why it's put in there. But you'll notice that I chopped and minced up my zest, so it gives you nice uniformity. And and many people will say, well, I didn't taste the orange zest, but you know what? You tasted the brightness.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, Joan.
Okay, Marcia, we've got about 2 minutes.
Okay,
So,
I have one more question.
Okay.
Joan is wondering about basil in the recipe.
Yes. Basil can be added to the recipe. Oregano can be added to the recipe. It all depends upon what you were looking for. What I really wanted was a nice, clean sauce without too many aromatics. And I think after you taste this sauce, you will say to yourself, that's really very good. The basil would have added something, but it's pretty good the way it is.
Excellent. All right. Any more questions? No?
Okay.
So I have one. This is the gift that our group here is going to receive today.
Okay.
It's a can strainer. I don't know if you can see it, but you can use this when you use any canned vegetables or beans and strain the liquid out, and you can get rid of about 40% of the sodium.
Excellent idea.
I don't think we'd want to do that with the tomatoes for the sauce,
These
but I would
tomatoes
encourage
were,
people to get no added
low
salt.
sodium.
Perfect. Yep, low sodium. Good, good.
Okay. Marcia, would
Yes.
you like to close the show?
I would love to close the show. So this is Marcia Richards, dietitian from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Jerry Levine, chef extraordinaire, is over at the Plymouth Access television cable show. And we also have Beth Hadfield, who helps to coordinate from the Plymouth Center for Active Living. And we have our wonderful participants that come every month to be with us. And we're going to sit down now and have some meatballs and sauce and pasta. We wish
Okay.
everybody happy and healthy holidays.